Which of the following are reasons why it is more difficult to value common stock than it is to value bonds? The life of a common stock is essentially forever. The rate of return required by the market is not easily observed. Common stock cash flows are not known in advance. If a zero dividend stock is purchased for $80 and sold 1 year later for $84, the 1-year return can be found using the formula at $84 divided by 80, then minus 1. Return on stock. Return on stock equals selling price subtract cost price, then divide by cost price. After tax cost of debt is equal cost of borrowing times $1 minus tax rate. When the stock being valued does not pay dividends, the dividend growth model can still be used. The value of a firm is the function of its growth rate and its discount rate. Which one of the following is true about dividend growth patterns? Dividends may grow at a constant rate. A share of common stock is more difficult to value in practice than a bond. Match the following term related to stock evaluation. P1 is mean price in one year. D1 is mean dividend in 1 year. R is mean discount rate. P0 is mean price today. Which of the following represents the valuation of stock using a zero growth model? Dividends divided by discount rate. When the stock being valued does not pay dividends, the dividend growth model can still be used. The goal of many successful organizations is steady rate for growth in dividends. The value of a firm is the function of its growth rate and its discount rate. 3 special case patterns of dividend growth include non-constant growth, constant growth, and zero growth. Which of the following are reasons why it is more difficult to value common stock than it is to value bond? The life of a common stock is essentially forever. The rate of return required by the market is not easily to observed. Common stock cash flow are not known in advance. A zero growth model for stock evaluation is distinguished by a constant dividend amount. The constant growth formula calculates the stock price 1 year prior, 1 year to the first dividend payment. The constant growth formula calculates the stock price 1 year prior, year T, to the first dividend payment, DT plus 1. The formula for valuing a constant growth stock is P0 equal D1 divided by R subtract G. The main reason for considering non-constant growth in dividends to allow for supernormal growth rate over some finite length of time. The value of a firm is the function of its growth rate and its discount rate. When applying two-stage growth in second stage, G2 must be less than R. Which one of the following is true about dividend growth patterns? Dividend may grow at a constant rate. For investors in the stock market, dividends from stocks are fixed and guaranteed, while capital gains are variable and not guaranteed. It's false. A share of common stock is more difficult to value in practice than a bond. The dividend yield is determined by dividing expected dividend D1 by the current price P0. The dividend growth model determines the current price of a stock as its dividend next period dividend by the discount rate less the dividend growth rate. The constant growth rate can be interpreted as the capital gain yield. When assuming non-constant growth in dividends, to avoid the problem of having to forecast and discount an infinite number of dividends, we start growing at a constant rate sometime in the future. What is the formula to determine the total return for common stock for a stock that currently sells for $100, then pay a dividend in a year of $2 and has constant growth rate of 8%? So R is equal to divide by 100 plus 0.8, which is R equal the dividend paid divided by current sale price, and then plus the growth percent rate. The idea for two-stage growth is that the dividend will grow at a rate of G1 for T years and then grow at a rate of G2 thereafter forever. A benchmark PE ratio can be determined using the PEs of similar companies. A company's own history PEs. Which of the following are expected cash flow to investors in stock, dividend, capital gains? Common stock has no special preference either in receiving dividends or in bankruptcy. All else constant, the dividend yield will increase if the stock price decreases. When voting for the board of directors, the number of votes a shareholder is entitled to is usually 1 vote per share held. If the growth rate G is 0, the capital gain yield is 0. Suppose Bob owns 20 shares and Vicky owns 30 shares in good company, and there are 5 members of the board directors. Under which voting arrangement can Bob assume himself of a board member that represents his interest? Cumulative voting. In the dividend discount model, the expected return for investors come from which two sources? Dividend yield and growth rate. With straight voting, the directors are elected one at a time, and only way to guarantee a seat is to own 50% plus 1 share. A benchmark PE ratio can be determined using the PE of similar companies, a company's own history PE. Moda Motors had 8 directors on its board, 2 of whom go up for election each year. This is an example of a staggered board. Which of the following are features of common stock? in generally had voting right. It has no special preference in bankruptcy. It has no special preference in receiving dividend. One reason corporations use staggered boards is that it makes takeover attempts less likely to be successful. When voting for board of directors, the number of votes shareholder is entitled to is generally determined as follows: 1 vote per share held. Most voting in large corporations is done by proxy because most small shareholders do not attend the annual meeting. Cumulative voting means board members are elected one at a time, with each shareholder casting his or her allocated votes for each seat on the board. Fault. This is not right. The common reason for having two classes of common stock with different vote rights is it is easier for insiders such as funding families to maintain control of the company. Win-Win Corporation has 5 board members and each shareholder gets 1 vote per share. The company used a straight board voting procedure. How does this arrangement affect monetary shareholders? No monetary shareholder would have enough vote to win any seat on the board. In a stagger board, only a fraction of the directorships are up for election at any time. At any one time. The value of the share of common stock in a corporation is directly related to the general right of shareholders. The value of a share common stock in a corporation is directly related to general rights of shareholders. It can be advantageous to have a stagger board because it provides institution memory. It's true. Which of the following entities declares a dividend? The board of directors. A proxy. Proxy is a grant of authority by a shareholder to someone else to vote his or her share. With more than one class of common stock, it is easier for insiders such as funding families to maintain control of the company. True. With a straight voting, the directors are elected one at a time, and the only way to guarantee a seat is to own 50% plus 1 share. A stock with dividend priority over common stock is called a preferred stock. A stock with dividend priority over common stock is called a preferred stock. Matthew's company has new classes of common stock, and each share represents the same proportion of ownership. In the company, Class A has 2 votes for each share. Class B has 1 vote per share. Which class is more valuable? So Class A, has 2 votes for each share. Preferred shares have a stated liquidating value, typically $100 per share. A dividend is a payment by corporation to shareholders made in either cash or stock. If preferred dividend are cumulative and are not paid in a given year, they will be carried forward as an arrearage. Oh my goodness. Okay. If preferred dividends are cumulative and are not paid in a given year, they will be carried forward as an arrearage. Most voting in a large corporation is done by proxy because smaller shareholders do not attend the annual meeting. Initial public offerings, the stock, occur in the primary market. One common reason for having two classes of common stock with different voting rights is it is easier for the insiders, such as funding families, to maintain control of the company. Someone who maintains an inventory of stocks and buys and sells those stock is known as a dealer. Preferred stock has preferred over common stock in the distribution of corporate assets, payment of dividends. The NYSE Nest and the NYSE member who acts as a dealer in a smaller number of security is called specialist. Thus, the company has an issue of preferred stock that pay a dividend of 7% of its state value, which is $100. Which of following would be commonly used name for that preferred stock? $7 preferred stock. NASDAQ, NASDAQ has which of those features? Computer network of security dealers, multiple market maker system. Is a company required to pay preferred dividends? No, the company not defer dividends on preferred stock. However, they cannot pay dividends to common shareholders until preferred dividends are paid. Which of the following occur in the primary market? Newly issued stocks are initially sold. A person who brings buyers and sellers together is called brokers. An NYSE member who execute customer buy and sell orders is called a floor broker. NASDAQ and NASDAQ is which of those feeders? Multiple market maker system, computer network of security dealers. If preferred dividends are cumulative and are not paid in a given year, they will be carried forward as arrearage. Investment firms that are active participants in stocks assigned to them are called supplemental liquidity provider. Okay, investment firms that are active participants in stocks assigned to them are called supplemental liquidity providers. The secondary market is best defined as the market where outstanding shares of stock are resold. The two-stage dividend growth model evaluates the current price of stock based on the assumption a stock will grow at a fixed rate for a period of time, after which it will grow at a different rate indefinitely. So a decrease in which of the following will increase the current value of stock according to the dividend growth model? Discount rate decrease. An annual dividend yield is computed by dividing the next year annual dividend by the current stock price. What is the model called that determines the stock value? What is the model called that determines the market value of a stock based on its next dividend? The dividend growth rate and the applicable discount rate constant growth model. The price the dealer is willing to pay is called the bid price. The difference between the bid and ask price is called spread, and is the basic source of dealer profits. The largest equities-based exchange in the world based on total market capitalization and listed security is the New York Stock Exchange. So the price the dealer is willing to pay is called the bid price. The difference between the bid and ask prices is called spread and is the basic source of dealer profits. The largest equities-based exchange in the world based on total market capitalization and listed security is the New York Stock Exchange.